Hi there. Welcome back to the Mom with a Calling podcast. Thank you for joining me. My name is Alexia Carrillo, and I am going to record this podcast episode via video as I'm doing it. Normally, I do these not on video, but I thought, you know what? Why don't I try it both ways and see how this goes? So today I have some notes here, and I'm just going to share with you um, some thoughts that I'm having here on Memorial Day. But first, I want to let you know that I recently started a TikTok channel. It's called Mama with a Legacy, and you can follow me over there. I'll put the link below. I just started it. I would love to have you follow to connect over there. Just putting lots of, Bible verses, encouragement, mindset pieces, that kind of thing. So if you're on TikTok, you can find me over there at Mama with a Legacy. All right. So, like I said, today's Memorial Day, and it got me thinking, as we ponder on the privileges that we have here in the United States, we have so many opportunities to, like, just the blessing of opportunity, first of all, like, that is a blessing. That as women, we are able to work, we are able to have the internet, like we have the internet and the freedom to work from home, to homeschool our kids, to make money online, to build wealth. I mean, I grew up in poverty. I did not grow up with, any sense of wealth. Yet I am able to, because of the freedoms that we have and the opportunities that we have, I am able to potentially, not a guarantee, right, but potentially to have that, to grow and build wealth for my family, to change those generational tendencies. But also, we have the freedom, obviously, to worship God and to share our faith and to help others. And there's just so many things. And as I was thinking about this, and it was very timely because I was like, I try to read in Proverbs every day, and today I was reading, it's the 27th. So I read Proverbs 27, and 27:1 says, "Don't boast about tomorrow, for you don't know what a day might bring." And that was just so telling or so applicable for today because you just don't know if you have tomorrow. You don't know what today is going to bring. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 seconds, but God knows. And we have the Holy Spirit in us who is leading and guiding us to do the things that God's wanting us to do. And it got me thinking that this is why I do what I do, helping women to confidently step into their calling. And that can mean helping you with the mindset piece, helping you see what God's truth is, that He is with you and for you. But it can also mean just giving you the practical steps for how to move forward, even if you're not ready, right? Sometimes we just have to take action. And I just got to thinking about how the enemy really messes people up. I mean, I was like this. I know so many of my clients have been like this, and so many people just in the community over on Facebook, where we get in our heads so much as Christians about, is it okay to make money? What if I fail? What if I, make a fool of myself? What if nobody cares what I have to say? What if it wasn't really God leading me? There's so many doubts and fears. Like, what if I waste money? What if I invest this money and I get scammed or whatever? Like, there's so many doubts and fears. And I was just thinking that the enemy is getting us to make our focus be on the what ifs and the potential for bad things and the potential risks that's there. But that's what the enemy wants us to focus on. What does God want us to focus on? I didn't pull this verse, but Paul says in Philippians somewhere that he says that we are to think on good things, pure things, those things. Like, why are we focusing on things that could go wrong instead of focusing on what could go right? And that, what if God's asking us to do this thing, which, first of all, God is not asking you to do something that's going to lead to your demise, right? He is asking you to do things that are good. And so, even if you don't understand how they're good, He's asking you to do them for good, whether it's your own good or the good of others or whatever. And if you're called to have a business, then what He's asking you to do has this huge impact and this ripple effect, right? Not only is it you able to change potentially your family's dynamic. You're able to be home with your kids. You're able to make money online, maybe more money than you did in your career, pay off debt, etc. Like I said, changing those generational tendencies. And like whatever your business is, when you have a business, you are creating jobs for other people. You are able to have other women maybe be home, other parents, it doesn't be women, other parents be home with their kids, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also, like, when you have a business, we are building into the economy. We are creating wealth for others. We are providing a service or product that is helping other people do something that they've been wanting to do. Like, it literally has this impact, this ripple effect. And so if God is calling you to do something that has, it's for good. Like, how can we think that that's for bad? Obviously, if your business is something like really, really obviously unbiblical, then that's not from God. But if otherwise, why would it not be? Like, why is that our doubt? So I was just thinking, like, we need to shift our perspective to focusing on God and the potential for good and the impact, even if we don't understand it, versus letting the enemy put our distraction over here when God says, it's like in the Garden of Eden, right? When God says, look at all of the things you get, all the things you can have, yet he wanted them to focus on the one thing they couldn't have. He shifted their perspective to the negative. We have to stay focused on the abundance that God gives us and the good and the fact that he is good, right? He is going to lead us in that way. So I want to just ask you to consider, what is it costing you to say no to the thing that's on your heart one more day? Like, if you're like me, I spent like 3 years wishing and hoping I would quit my job, like just trying to get the courage to actually do it, to put in that 2 weeks notice. And then there were like, it took me, and then when I finally did that, it took me another 2-3 years 2 years probably before I even was able, or 2.5 years before I could start my coaching business. I was so scared to start a coaching business and a podcast. Started a podcast that year too. And it's like, there are so many things. How many more people could I have helped had I started sooner? How much farther along, how many more people will be impacted and reached by the podcast had I started it 2 years earlier? Looking back, I really wasn't in a place to start it. Like, that's part of the journey. But my point is, I just don't go another year. A lot of people, like, I remember I worked in the school system. And so I had the summers, and maybe you don't, maybe that's not your situation, but if you have more downtime this summer, if you have, and whatever you're listening to this, whatever kind of season you're in, don't let another season go by wishing and hoping and praying that you can actually quit your job or that you could start the business so that your life could be different. Why not take action now, working toward that? Yes, you need to pray about it. Yes, you need to trust in God's timing. Yes, God will direct your steps, but he can't direct steps if you're not walking. So you have to have a plan of what you're going to be doing and be making efforts toward what he has on your heart. And I want to just say, there's no shame, right? I'm not trying to shame you and make you feel bad, but you might feel convicted about, like, yeah, I do need to do something. But it makes a lot of sense, right? Like I said, the enemy is messing with our thoughts. Not just the enemy, though, the world. The world messes with our thoughts. They have people believing that you shouldn't make a decision unless you know for sure. Don't make risks. Only do things that you know are going to pan out. Don't waste money. Don't, online business is scammy, or whatever they want to say. Or like, you can't really hear God. All of these things, those things are not true. And so we have all these voices coming in, chiming. You might even have family chiming in saying, like, you can't take that kind of risk. You have a family, you have kids, you have retirement coming, like whatever it is, and they mean well. They're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you, but it's wrong. So I just want to say, there's no shame. But now that you're listening to this, you can change your thoughts. Now that you recognize, like, wait a minute, maybe my thoughts aren't necessarily true. And if my thoughts aren't true, then what is true? And how can I operate in that reality? And that's why I'm constantly referring back to the Bible, and we need to know what God's word says. You need to get in the Bible and know for yourself. Let it speak to you. Let God show you what you need to hear, what you need to hold on to as you're moving through life and you're moving through the decisions that you're making. So I want to encourage you today to take action, to do something, whatever the thing is that you've been holding back from. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's deciding on the business and finally making that like, this is it. Maybe it is making a plan to quit your job. Maybe it's actually putting in the notice because you totally can. And it's just really scary. And so you just need to put in the notice, the 2 weeks notice. Maybe it is saying yes to another revenue stream that you want to do. I just recently added a revenue stream into my business that it complements it, but I didn't even see that coming of me doing that. And when I said yes, and I fought it, I was like, I don't know. And I worked through this whole process and I said yes, and it's working out really well. Like I'm up to $3,600 in a little over 2 weeks, and it's only up from here. Like I'm so excited. It's such a great, I'm so glad I said yes to that. But if I had said no to that, I couldn't sit here and say that, right? I couldn't say I added $3,600 into my business, into my revenue, my bottom line. I couldn't do that if I'd said no and at least tried and at least taking that risk. So whatever it is that you are not sure about, or you've been hesitant on, you're scared, you have doubt, fear, worry, whatever, all those things, I want you to pick something, and I want to challenge you to take action today. Just take an action. Maybe it is, and immediately you might say, oh, I don't have time, I'll do it tomorrow. Today, find 10 minutes to do something toward it. And I'm saying that because to break the habit of pushing it off till tomorrow. Not to mention, whatever's happening today, you surely have a few minutes to be able to, maybe it's just writing down your action step for tomorrow. That's still action today. And then committing to that. Maybe it's you need to look something up. Maybe it's you need to go buy that domain. Or maybe you need to buy a course that you've been like, ugh, or maybe you need coaching, or whatever it is that you've been kind of like, I don't know. Do the thing that you've been putting off, take an action, and that is going to help your mind start to believe differently, right? Because when you take an action in opposition to what you believe, it starts to change the reality, because that reality isn't happening. If you believe you can't do it and then you do it, well, that belief is now shattered. You just did it, right? So we have to take action to also help with our mindset. So, if you need coaching around this, obviously I am a biblical mindset coach for Christian entrepreneurs. And I love, this is my favorite thing to do, which is to talk to women and to help them work through what's getting in the way. So if you're feeling like, okay, I would love to take action, but I just can't, I can't do it, I'm too scared, or, whatever it is, book a coaching session with me. I have a single 1 hour breakthrough session that would be perfect to work through one issue like this, something that just getting over that hurdle to take the action. So if you would like to learn more about that, go to momwithacalling.com/breakthrough, and you will be able to book that session there. And I have limited spots, but I would love to help you to be able to get rid of those negative mindset, that those things that are getting in the way. And we're going to say the enemy is not going to win. He is not going to keep you from what God has for you. So book one of those sessions if you need. I would love to support you. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep pursuing your calling.